Finding clients and candidates for your recruitment business is one of the most important things to run a successful business. But most agencies can either focus on the client side or on the candidate side, but never both at once. The most successful agencies build a system that lets them focus on both pipelines on the same time, so they don't have to worry about drying out one pipeline just to fill the other one. I'll show you the AI and automation system that helps agencies balance both pipelines at the same time. We've done that for over 30 plus recruitment agencies, and they typically see 3 times more placements over a time frame of 6 months while reducing overhead costs at the same time. Stay until the end for the complete implementation breakdown, timelines, and pricing. Most agencies think they need more recruiters to scale. They're wrong. They need better intelligence. And how do you get more intelligence about your market? You first need to know it. And here's where the market mapping comes in. But first of all, what is market mapping? Market mapping means that we identify every company and every hiring manager in your addressable market. That means the companies that would be relevant for you. Let's say you're targeting SaaS companies and you're recruiting for sales roles. And in that terms, you need to find every SaaS company in the market that you're going after. Let's say you're taking the US and you want to find every SaaS company in the US and their specific hiring managers that you would reach out to. So of course, this can be different people. It could be the CEO for smaller agencies, for smaller businesses. It can be the head of sales, the sales director, etc. So we want to make sure that we find all these people so you know your market. You know which are the companies that I can go after and which are on the market, so we can start monitoring them on signals. So once we have mapped down your markets, we start plugging in a signal engine on that. So that means all these companies that we identified that would be relevant for you, they will be monitored on signals. The reason why we do this is basically to give you better intelligence. As I explained already earlier, the more intelligence you have, the better outreach you can do. Okay, so now let's talk about signals. What are actually signals and why do we use them and why should you use them? Signals basically show you that there's a specific need in a company. And this can be anything from an open job, from a leadership change, a new hiring manager joining the company, from a specific key employee leaving the company, fundraising round, tech stack changes, you name it. But basically we focus that around 6 core triggers and then stacking them to build your own signals. We call that signal stacking. And that means that we can combine triggers like job listings with fundraising rounds or new hires or key employees that are leaving the company. And this gives you much more context to build a good messaging around that, because then you can say something like, hey, I just saw that you've been recently raising funds and now you're hiring for 3 software engineer roles. Might be that you're working on your product and scaling that. So it gives you just better angle to reach out to and having a well-researched message. So why does this well-researched message matter? Your clients' inboxes are most likely spammed with the same outreach messages they get every day, and most of them are just shooting in the dark. But if your message comes at the right time with the right message and lands in the right person's inbox, then you're gonna win in the long run for sure. So I would always use signals to trigger my outreach sequences, and it also enables you to do these things fully automatically and make your campaigns almost self-running on their own. But even with a perfectly mapped out TAM, most agencies fail at the next step, which is the outreach part. The majority of recruitment agencies right now is just spraying and praying. Means they source a big list or have that already in their CRM and then start sending emails every day to the same people, and they fully go with copy and paste templates. That means the only variable they are changing is the first name. It doesn't sound that you're doing the effort to basically research them and spend a few minutes to just get to know who is the person and personalize that in the messaging. Sending the same message thousands and thousands of times, it will land you in the spam folder. We're in the age of AI. Google, Microsoft, some of the biggest companies with the most budget on spending into AI, their spam filters getting better and better and better, and they will detect your messages that are copy and pasted. The more important it is to basically make each message stand out and make it unique. Because first of all, you don't want to land in spam filters because no one ever answered to an email that went to spam. And of course, you want to basically place your emails in the inboxes of the people that you want to reach out to. There's 2 things that are important here: the email infrastructure and your messaging. So the messaging should always be different for each message that you're sending, at least partly. So do not send the same message to everyone. This will just make inbox placement much harder. And you should always set up your dedicated email infrastructure, meaning dedicated domains to send your cold emails from, specific mailboxes for them that lets you exchange and replace broken email inboxes, and they protect your main domain from being flagged as spam. Because the least thing that you want is your communications with your candidates or clients going to spam folders. This just doesn't appear trustworthy, and it also can cause delays in the hiring process where timing is crucial and speed is the key to winning deals. Spam filters are stricter than ever, and AI is making it even harder to land in inboxes using the same generic messages that every other agency is sending. The problem is, every message which doesn't land in a primary inbox is a lost opportunity. It's a lead that you could have reached, but because your own email infrastructure is broken, you're not landing in their inbox, and it will lose you the opportunity to get in touch with these people because no one ever replied to an email that lands in a spam folder. So how are you making sure that you land in a primary inbox? You need to make sure that you have disposable domains that you're only using for cold outreach. The way how that works is you set up your secondary domains, you assign multiple mailboxes to that, and you only start sending from these mailboxes. This not only helps you land in the primary inbox, it also helps to protect your main domain's deliverability, because that's the domain and the mailbox that you're going to be having your client communications, your candidate communications, and the worst thing that can happen is that these messages land in spam folders, because these are the messages that ultimately deliver the revenue for your team and basically keeping you in touch with your clients. So now that we have our email infrastructure set up, we now have to work on the active outreach part. When are we reaching out? And I explained earlier that we're tracking these signals on our total addressable market, and they help us decide when are we reaching out to these people. So as I said, job listings, headcount changes, new leadership hires, etc. All of these things can be basically triggering outreach sequences. A small tip here is don't take the first signal that you get, monitor the market, aggregate and collect these signals, and then do it basically whenever their timing is best. And this is of course a bit different from industry to industry, but it could be, for example, 3 job listings in the last 60 days, or a leadership change and someone left the company, which is an important hire, or a fundraising round and 2 open jobs. You name it. You can design your signals yourself. So now that we know when we are reaching out, we have to also decide where are we reaching out. What is the best channel to reach our prospects? Of course, we're using email, but there are other channels that are worth to use as well. So we're always emphasizing our clients to take every channel possible where their audience spends their time. So email, LinkedIn, phone, these are the 3 evergreens I would always recommend to make the most out of your lead list, because the signals they give you companies that are in your market and need your service. So if they like it or not, they could be a fit for your service if you can provide them with the specific talent. So now it's about getting into conversations, and conversations open by building multiple touch points with these people. And that's why we always recommend to go with kind of a multi-channel approach, meaning sending an email first, sending a connection request after on LinkedIn. If they don't accept it, give them a cold call on the next day. You can build your cadence with multiple touch points across multiple channels, because on the 3rd day, when you give them a cold call, they have you already seen you on your email inbox, and they have you seen you basically pop up on their LinkedIn feed, which of course is not a full cold call anymore. Of course, it's still a cold contact, but it's even a bit more warm because they might remember your name, or remember your profile picture or your company name. It basically gives you a better way into the door. So we always emphasize to use a multi-channel approach to do outreach. It just has better response rates. So now you're sending automated messages. But what happens if the first person actually replies to your emails? Speed is the key here. So you need to be fast at the leads, because you're on top of mind just for a very short period. Everyone's busy in their day. I am, you are. So whenever you get an email and you close your mailbox and you start a task, you might have forgotten what you've done like the past 50 minutes before. My email gets lost. And if that happens, you're almost out of the game and you're not top of mind anymore. So we always emphasize, be quick to the lead. Try to be within 5 to 15 minutes with the first reply. And if you want to make sure to secure the most meetings from your email replies, give them a call right away. So they answer, usually they have the phone number in their signature. You can extract that either using an automation or doing that manually, or you can enrich the phone number if they reply, and you can dial them right away and book them into your diary very quickly. Both ways work, but the most important thing is to be quick at the lead. And how do you achieve this speed? Important is to have automations running in the backend that help you notify your team. So probably if you're running a big motion and you have a few recruiters on your team, you don't do the calls to each response yourself, but a team is doing that. You might have your team split into different areas, sectors, industries. Of course, it varies a bit from company to company, but what we would do always is to have a routing system. That means whenever someone replies, we know, okay, he's in, let's say, construction, then we route this to the construction recruiter. And if it's a tech company that's answering, we route that to the tech recruiter, of course. That can be fully adjusted to your logic, of course, but I would always have automations running to send notifications and inform the team to get in touch with this lead. So now that you're actively sending outreach emails, you will also get some replies. The problem that most agencies have here and why they're losing important meetings is that they're taking too long to reply to these leads and get them on their diary. The best recruitment agencies have a notification system that informs them when there's a positive reply in their inbox instantly, so their team can quickly act and book them on the diary. We always suggest to use a call to book them in the diary quickly, because that's the easiest way to get to the prospect and also pre-qualify if there's a need and basically if you can actually help them. So it's kind of a bit of a setting that you can do then. But either way, also a quick response time is key here. So if you're answering via email, aim for 5 to 15 minutes, and using the notification engine, it's all there. So you get your notification in Slack, Google Chat, Teams, wherever your team is operating in. You'll get that there. You can act inside this comms channel very quickly. So what are actually the results that you can expect using a system like this? For example, Sprung Consulting booked around 100 meetings in the first 90 days of sending outreach. Another client went from a less than 1% reply rate to a 4% positive reply rate, means 4 positive responses for 100 emails sent, which is a ridiculous number if you ask me. Then we have another client that booked their first meeting within the first week of sending, and another client, they secured a long-term contract within the first 2 weeks of sending. The agencies getting these results aren't just using better messages. They're using a system, a complete recruiting OS that takes them from mapping their market until sending the final outreach messages, almost all on autopilot. We call it the Recruiting OS, a complete AI system that monitors your market on signals and send outreach sequences better than any recruiter could do without them having to lift any finger. It's built specifically for recruitment agencies that want to win in 2025 and beyond. So if you're interested in this system, I created a full breakdown of how to set the system up, the timeline, the pricing, which tools are included, and you can download that below. Or if you want us to build this for you, feel free to book a call via the link in the description, and me and my team gonna have a chat with you on how a system like this could work for you. That's it for today's video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.